what I could tell them. So if the chain's down, it's when there's not an event happening. Is that right?
Well, the chain is down 75 to 80% of the time.
Okay.
So it's not really blocking anything off.
Okay.
Like what I see the problem.
Gotcha.
So it's, I mean, if the chain was up 75, 80% of the time, it would be doing probably its job.
Okay.
I mean, again, I do see them mowing up there. It's that I think Johnson something, whoever mows.
Yeah.
I see him doing other areas, but I don't know if he's not putting it back or it's down by the time when he gets there.
Okay.
But then if he mows, say, on Wednesday and there's an event on Saturday, people don't know that they shouldn't be going in there.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, I think that's where I'm confused. So they're allowed to go in there from the easement that they have. They're allowed to use it for parking in there.
I don't think that was ever approved.
Am I thinking of the wrong area? Is this inside the fence as you go in on the left?
Yeah, although we had previously discussed, and I believe Jason looked up the easement, it's only like 60 feet or something, not the entirety of.
I remember looking it up, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But I
Yeah.
remember.
Okay.
We had a plot map and everything when we did it.
So we don't want them to use the full area inside the fence.
It's basically where those sewer pipes are too.
So the sewer pipes are behind the fence. They're on the Lyon side of the property. We did look into that, and so they're not parking on top of any of the sewer lines because none of them run through that fenced-in area there. But what I'm hearing is they only have a limited easement inside the fenced-in area, and so we're trying to close that off more.
I'd like to, yeah.
Okay.
Where the chain actually goes across. I mean, I don't think we put that chain up.
Yeah.
Okay, they must have at some point. Okay, but it's not really being utilized.
Okay.
I mean,
Can we use that area though, because I know the fairgrounds, the police department controls the parking when we do the fireworks, and we have to use that entire area because of the limited amount of
That's
space.
our event too.
Okay.
I mean, they had a carnival up there a couple of weeks ago and cars were parked all over. I mean, they got plenty of parking. I know they got excavation work going on up there now, but, okay, that's good with that. And the second thing is, up in the Barium, Seasons Village, Ripple Fiber. Can I get an update on what is going on with the speed bump that they made and the lights being out and other issues that they caused?
I'll let Austin take that one.
Yeah, so they sent us 2 checks for 2 different, they hit water mains 2 different times. So they sent us a check for $2,000 and one for about $6,000. So we've received them. They've been communicating good. I've got 9 addresses that they've got speed bumps in front of. They've contacted me about, and they're making plans to repair those completely. Then we got one on Summer Breeze Court where they hit an irrigation, and so they've contacted him, and they make plans to fix that as well.
Yeah, I'm aware of that because I have a swimming pool in my backyard due to the fact that they broke the irrigation.
Yeah. Yep. So they are in contact, and they are making plans here in the next couple weeks to repair all those.
How about the lights? Now, they've been out for almost close to 2 months.
Duke's been notified. So I've contacted Duke, and they've contacted Duke. As far as lights, I can't make that happen. They have been contacted.
Because it is, one, I mean, there's numerous poles. One is around a pretty dangerous curve.
Right. I'll reach out to them again tomorrow, to Duke. Do a follow-up.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess I'll ask next month again. Thank you.
Doing what I can.
If we hear something sooner, we'll let you know.
All right. And that's it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't have anything as exciting as Eddie over here, but I did want to say IFN Monthly this month did a great write-up on one of our local businesses in Barium Springs, the new Crooked Shelf coffee shop. Pretty interesting story that the owners have, and it's awesome to see that people migrating in here to Troutman to start new businesses and help our spaces grow. Also, just the south of town, a little shout out to Herschel's, which is, I believe, fresh produce, blackberries and strawberries and flowers, just located down on Main Street by Autumn Leaf. it's great to see another business coming to town and growing. I know I mentioned a couple months ago that it looked like somebody was taking that over. It took a little while to get in there, but it's great to see. They looks like they stay pretty busy.
I don't have much. I'm just looking forward to the parade on the 27th. Someone thought we messed up the dates. I don't know if you saw that, Emery. Yes. She said, "How can you mess up July 4th date for the parade?" And I said, "Okay." I didn't respond to it, but anyway, looking forward to this. And I was at the what are they? Brewerton Club. Chuck, please don't get me. I was at their meeting, and someone announced that it was the Statesville Troutman Moors Parade, and Chuck quickly corrected them and said, "This is the Troutman Parade. It's the 21st year. Let's make sure we have that straight." So I wanted to make sure that you all know that Chuck corrected that misstatement that's obviously being made around town. But this is our 21st, so I'm looking forward to it. I know it's a lot of work been going into it. That's all I have.
I'll add all the good work that the staff did, along with Exchange Club for the Walk of Heroes and more of that celebration. A lot of great comments and there's good crowds out there. And it was a long walk, so I did 3 of them. My neighbor did 9. He missed the first, didn't know about it. He just kept going on about it. Great time with that, and then we get recognized on Thursday night, so it's very good. And the other one, Nick had asked maybe I would mention and get Andrew to help me about the CART meeting we had last month. And, it's a lot of news, but just let you know that the Iredell County group of Statesville, Northville, and Troutman all went with keeping the toll as a way to fund that new South I-77. But Charlotte had, their council had voted to not support it and asked them to stop the CART vote. It ended up being a 1 vote difference and going for a CART vote when it dropped the support of the toll rate. So now there's some of the things going about $700 million are going to be gone from the area. But basically, and I think Andrew can explain that a little bit, it's going to be have everything scored again, somewhere down the road. And it can still be over somewhere this way. Everybody just wants to say, well, it's going to Raleigh, but that's not necessarily true. And Andrew, you have anything to add to our night? It was an exciting night. One person didn't vote and it ran out, it was an automatic yes. So it threw it over the edge.
So I had actually just prepared to kind of just give a brief update on this during staff comments.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So as Councilman Harris mentioned, that the CART Poll Board did vote to rescind support of the I-77 South toll lanes, which from the state was about $700 million. Total project was $3.2 billion. The rest of that would come in form of a public-private partnership, a P3. So what that means right now, we don't really know. We know that North Carolina Department of Transportation is not happy with the CART Poll Board, as they were $50 million into the design of this project. There's been some talk about potential punishment for the jurisdictions of CART Poll for rescinding this project. We don't know the ramifications. We didn't know the ramifications in light of that rash decision made by the CART Poll Board. But hopefully DOT representatives will be there next Wednesday when we go back down for the June meeting, and we'll have a better feel of what's going on. I will say that, as Councilman Harris mentioned, with the Iredell folks taking a step back and not making that decision and not voting along those lines, that can only help us. But we do hope to have a little bit more concrete maybe next month after we meet with CART Poll next Wednesday.
And part of that help already, I was talking to the Board of Transportation that sits beside me at the CART Poll meeting, and I was complaining about Firehouse Loop and the exit out on off ramps off of 42, 45, 49. He said, write me a letter. So I got Andrew to help me write a letter, and then we added the 3 crosswalks. The town already has the money approved stuff. Then about 2 weeks ago, they started doing the off ramp, the on ramp at 42, and I guess I understand they worked on the other one yesterday or something. So supposedly, in the thing I saw was they would spend that money, because I told them they already had money done. It's just they walked away. It makes us look bad. So anyhow, I wrote the letter, and said they're gonna get 45 and 49 all finished. I know they did pave the highway up at 49, so I included all of them in there. And Flower House Luke, he says, the only thing waiting on now is the utility work up there. If they get out of the way, so we can get it done now. He's told me we'll get it done tomorrow, about 3 months ago, so. But at least we got action this time, so. And Andrew was having to thank him for having to put that letter together so we could show things that are already approved. So maybe we don't have they won't look at us so bad anymore. Help us out.
There's hope for Tally Street.
Yes, no, it's down hanging out there.
I do have one more question. I was wondering if Emily could give us an update. There were some very uncouth comments and posts about the splash pad and messaging around it. What happened? Like, what? Help me understand.
So on Monday of last week, we transitioned to stage 2 restrictions, and there was some confusion with directives that came down on whether splash pads could operate or not. Ours is actually considered an interactive fountain, interactive fountain, because we don't recycle and chlorinate the water. So it's actually doesn't fall under the restrictions of a splash pad, so it falls under an ornamental interactive fountain. So with the confusion of that one day, we put out publication that it was on. Did some more research that afternoon because it didn't sit right with me that it just didn't feel right that we couldn't water our grass and couldn't really wash our cars, but we could run the splash pad. I said something here is not quite right. So went and did some further research and then realized that that wasn't what we needed to fall under. So Tuesday morning turned it off. And so, but
That makes sense. I appreciate the research.
yeah, I think it was a little frustrating to the public, but it was the right thing to do. And instead of people assumed it was a mechanical issue, instead of allowing them to think that, we owned the mistake, right? So it was a confusion, it was a mistake, but all we can do is apologize and go forward. And we're humans, right? So within town staff, there was just some miscommunications and misunderstanding. So we did the best we could to fix it and go forward. So.
Very good. With the water restrictions that I've seen around town too, a few neighborhoods that their HOAs are still watering like every night. The common areas, Norwood Walk especially, a lot of water. Is that allowed under our restrictions or?
No, we've been trying to put outdoor hangers, trying to police it. I've spoken to all the HOAs, I'm trying to police that. Over Norwood Walk, every common space has at least 3 irrigation meters. So figuring out exactly which one it is and all that. Some of the HOAs have been receptive, some have not. So we are trying to. We got door hangers for enough for every citizen in town. It's just a matter of policing them.
I was wondering if it had anything to do with like not being handed over to the residents of the communities yet, as far as the HOA.
No, they still have to abide by it.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll follow up with them over there, but yeah, if y'all know of anything else, let us know.
Very good.
Anything else from the council? Staff?
All right. Yes, sir. Who wants to go first? You want to keep going, Andrew?
Sure. Okay, I have 2 additional informational items here. One, you're all invited to the joint council planning board session as the update for a comprehensive land use plan. The consultant's going to give an update and just show what's going on and where we're going in the future. That'll be next Monday, June 15th, 3 p.m., and it'll be right here in this room. And then the second thing I wanted to touch base on is we've actually gotten confirmation from NCDOT that they will allow us, they will install a pedestrian crossing signal at the Tally Street stoplight. What we have to do as a town, though, we have to basically extend sidewalk from the greenway to the intersection and on the other side of Advanced Auto Parts to the roadway, make that ADA compliant, and we've gotten confirmation that the DOT will install that pedestrian head signal.
Yeah. But sidewalks brings me back to one other thing I'd asked. I didn't know if we had an update on the new Dorian Apartments. It looks like one of the sidewalks ends into a very steep hill that doesn't look like it'd ever be ADA compliant.
Andrew, you got any?
I've been in touch with the engineers out there who have yet to contact me back, but again, that's we don't have to final it until we get confirmation. So,
And is that where our future Tally sidewalk would run down?
so that would come into the Tally sidewalk.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Will those apartments help with the speed of those with the Tally Street sidewalk? All those people moving in there, will that help them speed up the progress?
Unfortunately, with the DOT project, that's not the case. With the Tally Street section right there with Dorian, since it's a federally funded project, if they were to install the sidewalk, there's potential that they might not do it right, so we could, be slapped on the hand.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Dorian folks, we went the route of having them just pay a fee in lieu of. So, we can.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. But a quick update on the Tally Street sidewalk project. After about 9 months of waiting on Duke Energy, we finally got a plan back from Duke Energy showing what utility poles need to be moved. We had a meeting with them and the consultant team on the project, which is DRMP. And DRMP kind of fought a little bit for us about some of them might not make sense and might be an unnecessary expense to the town. Duke took their comments, went back to whoever the supervisor was of the gentleman we were speaking with. He actually responded the next day and kind of gave in a little bit on a few. So again, he sent that file over to our consultant. The consultant just got to put it back to their plans with the right of way, and hopefully we can finally move forward. So.
Thank you, Andrew.
I can go, yeah. So in your packet, you'll see just a quick update on our ESC Park lighting project. You'll see the progress that's been made to date, submittal forms for materials completed, site visit with the electric company, electrical engineer to determine locations for the panels, pre-construction meeting, work order submitted to Duke Energy, and then Nuco Electric and Duke Energy are going to connect to finalize some details. They're still saying we're on schedule to complete by fall. Again, they're going to start down at the softball and baseball fields for phase 1, and phase 2 will come this way. So we're still on track and moving along. I'll update more as we move further.
Are we having a party on Friday?
We do have a party Friday.
Cool.
Everyone's invited. 6 to 9 party in the park with 2 local bands, Magnolia Fire and Tay Childress' band. My brain just went blank. Another little bluegrass band. They sang at Merle Fest this year, and these 2 groups performed together locally. So do come out. They've changed names twice. My brain just went blank. But do come out and see them Friday night. 6 to 9 party in the park.
Do you know when the last day is to register for the parade?
We asked for the 27th, but we always have last minute.
Okay.
We never turn anyone away if we.
Yeah, Chuck had mentioned he wants to make it the biggest one yet, or we were on track, something like that. So
I think he said
there's
it was
still time.
75 as of the other day.
Yeah, I think so.
Carolina Detour. That's the other band. My brain just
Came back.
Had a brain glitch. Yes, as early as possible for the parade, but we'll take the last minute ones too.
Cool.
So.
How many do we have currently, do you know?
79 was where we're at. It's a little slow coming in, but sometimes it's like that.
So they mentioned there's a big, 250 float or something?
Yep,
That's
so
the
that's our Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal.
Yep, celebrating America's 250th birthday. So the different committees that have been working on that, and the communities, and maybe that's where the confusion was with the states for
Right,
Mooresville.
that's what I think.
I don't think it was anything intentional.
It was Brian
Summers,
Summers who
Yes.
said it, and I bet he was thinking that collaboration was probably right.
and he serves on one of the 250
Right,
committees, and
right.
he's so I'm sure that's where the confusion was. Of course, it used to also be the Iredell County Independence Day Parade.
This one did?
It used to be, yeah, many years ago. So there's also probably still some of that dialogue. But yeah, so Mooresville will be participating in Statesville, and different organizations throughout Iredell County are going to be participating on the America 250 float. just showing the collaboration and the different events that have been happening around the county from this year to celebrate that. So that will be our Grand Marshal Club.
And that's supposed to be like a celebration throughout the whole year, right? The 250?
Yep.
Because that brings to something I wanted to bring up was about the flags on the Greenway. I know traditionally it's only a couple years old, and traditionally we've only done, is it 11 days or something? But being that it's getting such recognition, I had somebody tell me Saturday that they were watching Fox News, 6 a.m. Saturday morning, and there was an excerpt about the flags on that in our little town. And maybe if just for next year to round out the 250th year anniversary, or to extend it to future years, if we could do the flags. I know we don't do it as the town directly, but to encourage maybe through Memorial Day through July 4th, being that it's such a great attraction or a growing attraction for Troutman.
Okay, I'll mention it to them.
Would that be a problem for the parade? People watching the parade?
I mean,
There's a few details we'd have to
Yeah.
work through, maintenance of mowing and
Yep.
around all that. There'd be several things. This year I'd mentioned to them about potentially just leaving them up through Flag Day, which,
14.
yeah, 12 to 14, I forget the date, but I think the idea is that the people who purchase the flags come to Memorial Day event and take their flag with them when they leave, so they're not having to come back several times. But I don't think that people would care about having to come back again to get their flag if it was left up for a little bit longer. I don't think that's a problem. So, but again, it's their decision to make. So I will mention it and give them the feedback.
just really like what it's drawing in. You know, there's a lot of people that come from all over to walk through them or
Yep.
visit and just see what it's all about.
People are always disappointed when we take them down. So, yeah, I will definitely mention that.
That's all the updates from staff, sir.
Okay. Next on the agenda is discuss the social district. It's in the packet here, several pages on the social district.
Yes, sir.
What I've gotten here.
Yeah. So back at the planning retreat, we talked about, I guess, revisiting a social district. I think you all have had that discussion a year or so ago. So we wanted to meet that goal in the strategic plan to bring you all a sort of an evaluation. And so what we've done is put together a sort of a draft of things, really to just sort of start the discussion, since it's been a little while since this was talked about, and we have a few new council members too. Just wanted to kind of put it back in front of you. So you have a summary in the agenda there, or in the memo. You have a draft social district boundary. There was one that was passed around previously that was a little longer, a little bigger. Staff had some concerns about making it too big, so we wanted to sort of start small for you all to discuss, and then go out from there. Behind that would be an ordinance to establish the district, and then there is a draft maintenance and operation plan. So the state ABC board has to approve your map and your maintenance and operation plan. So when we're ready to move forward, we have to send that to them, and it would sort of all be contingent upon their approval. But wanted to go ahead and draft that for you to see what it looks like. Again, to sort of start the discussion. Behind that is just a piece of literature from the League of Municipalities, kind of an FAQ on social districts. And then the last document is the enabling legislation for your reference for social districts. So, again, wanted to kind of just get y'all's input on whether to keep moving forward, whether to take a pause, whether to research more, or where we go from here.
I have quite a few questions, but I'll start with one, and then they may be answered throughout the rest of the conversation. But one of the things I noticed when I was reading through here was that it says that no alcohol can be on our property.
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at the map, the passport office and Dollar General, all of that is within that. So am I missing something?
No. We have an existing ordinance that speaks to not having alcohol on town property, and so we would have to revise that ordinance if you all wanted to put this into effect where it covers town property. I mean, we have we have party in the park and we have, alcohol there. So it's sort of a temporary thing, but with this being more permanent, we want to make sure that that language gets updated so that we're not conflicting with that.
I have some more. I'll let y'all go ahead.
Go ahead, pick them all up.
So my next question is, did we survey, Nick, maybe you can answer, I know you've talked about it before. Did we talk to the businesses that will be affected? That seems like a simple question, but did we make sure that they really want this?
So in the past, to kind of help answer that, and there might be some more information, we had held a community awareness meeting and brought community members together and did discuss it. There were some concerns brought up, although I did poll the businesses from the flower art shop up here all the way down through Cedar Stump on both sides to see who would like to be involved, and unanimously all the businesses were interested in being involved.
So we're talking about here all the way down.
Aurora. And I mean, it's defined areas, right? But these are the businesses that I asked that are here in our downtown area to see, feel out the involvement, so that we're not just servicing maybe one or two.
Okay, my next question is 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. So that means school's gonna be in. I'm just wondering if I'm missing something, right? I'm not familiar with social districts. I don't drink and I don't hang out like that. So, I feel like I'm missing something. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. for a social district, like, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm missing something.
So I would say that what we've presented is just based on what other cities have done. And, I want you all to have a discussion about what you all want to see for Troutman. I would say that some of the other cities are more defined in their downtown,
Right.
and probably don't have schools and things in their downtown as well. So it's a different sort of application. But this has sort of been just the standard, and so I wanted it to be a starting point. We can make it whatever we want to. We can change the map so that it's further away from things. We can change the time. But yeah, we are sort of unique in the way that we're spread out and set up and where everything is.
I will add, I remember 28, this was the 2018 strategic plan, that the town had looked at blocking off Wagner Street, put the road over to Dollar General by there, and that area there would be a social district. My problem is I don't see a district in this town. They have a social district in because there's just that one little spot and you got traffic going through. But I know we had did that, and when we started purchasing around that area so that we could someday close it off and we get DOT to go to 21, and then that would isolate that whole area.
Yeah.
And I understood that well, and then we talked about maybe back up here somewhere this end of town, having somewhere. I don't know of anything we ever did in that side. I just have a problem, like Colleen, I'm not used to social district. I know that when I go back to Charleston, West Virginia, they shut down Capitol Street every Friday and Saturday. All the traffic up, but people walk back and forth, and there's several businesses there. And I've been to Charleston, South Carolina, like that. We just don't have, we're spread out. I mean, I'm looking at Cedar's Pump, the guy, Cedar Stump, he can stop at the Dollar General if they put a sign saying they want to go in and go shopping, 2 cups of beer or wine or whatever. Or go to the doctor's office. It's just inside that area at 10 o'clock. So, it's like, I'm not very familiar with any of this, but I do recognize it works in a lot of areas that deal with business, so that's why I told Nick and the others that, you come up with something that works for the town and addresses all these concerns we have out there.
Yeah.
So I just happened to be in Mooresville, I think it was last year, when they shut down all the streets, and it was like, because they have that social district right there. I was at the Charles Mack Citizen Center for an event, and that looks like a social district. I mean, like, the roads were shut down, traffic was there, and I just can't see that over there. Maybe y'all can help me see it.
I think a couple of defining factors are, the social district is an area, not an event, right? It's a every day of the week where people can freely move. But I'm not saying it's okay, but in reference to a school being in relation to a social district, ARS school is smack dab in the middle of Statesville Social District. It goes all around the entire ARS campus for the most part, aside from their one building that's branched off. So in those downtown buildings and other things, just to kind of give an example of where one nearby.
Eddie, comments?
I think it's a great plus for restaurants and businesses that are downtown, that people can have dinner at one place and then maybe go and have a cocktail or a glass of wine or a glass of beer at another restaurant or establishment. So I think it would definitely help our downtown businesses. Question that someone could answer is with the cups. What kind of, who would purchase these cups, and is it any responsibility that we would have to incur as a town?
No, I've seen it done both ways. I mean, cities that have a like a downtown development group or person, they purchase the cups and then resell them to businesses. But I've also seen it where the town says this is what it has to have on it, and so you can go to our vendor and purchase them, or you can purchase them as long as they look the same. So it could go either way.
We have a business or somebody that's already interested in possibly taking that on?
No, I haven't talked to anybody about that yet. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I thought Eddie said cops, but I thought he was going to my next question. But he said cups, which brings me to my next question. One of the things that it said was that it was going to be properly maintained, which means from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like, are we going to have to get more staff? Like, who's monitoring? Will we have to monitor that from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Yeah.
I guess that's, yeah.
It would really fall more to the business owners. So if there's somebody that is seen walking around with a cup at 9 a.m., it should have the business logo on the cup, and so that's when it's Josh's cue to go act and say, hey, the ordinance says 10 to 10 or whatever.
We're monitoring it.
We're monitoring it to a degree, but yeah, it would also be. I think there would be a punishment for somebody serving outside those hours.
So,
Well, I'm glad to see it's here, and I'd like to see it continue to grow and involve the business owners in the affected areas to see kind of where they'd like to see it go and grow into. I think there's a lot of benefits to it, just our July 4th parade or June 27th, whatever day it ends up falling on. But some of that connectivity between those businesses, people to be able to grab, brunch or early lunch and just have one of their social district cups and areas, maybe on that side of the road, connecting those businesses that serve it.
I agree with Nick there that we should definitely investigate it some more, but it's been almost 2 years since we've had a couple establishments come in and talk, and I don't think it would hurt us, possibly within the next 60 days or 90 or whatever we deem appropriate, to have another forum on the social district.
Sure.
That would help us kind of maybe make our decision with the business owners telling us.
Yeah. No, we can certainly do that. I think that makes sense.
So
Okay.
I would second Nick's motion that we investigate this further and keep it going till we can finally make a decision pro or against.
Okay. Yeah.
motion and a second, I guess, to continue the discussion on trying to develop something.
And I'm going to amend that a little bit, just with something that Eddie brought up, that within 60 days we do a community meeting engaging these business owners.
Okay. Can I at least get 90 days?
90 days.
Okay, thank you.
It is vacation season.
I just want to.
Prohibition.
Sure, that's right. That's right. Well, and I just not arguing for or against it. I just want to go ahead and put my 2 cents in now that I think staff is going to be more reserved on this versus, bluntly, somebody who thinks I can sell more beer and wine. I mean, our concern is going to be, are people crossing at the right location? Are they safe when they're walking down the street? And not saying that they would do it maliciously, but if a business has an opportunity to sell more things that a business sells, then I think they're going to be supportive of it. So you're going to hear a more reserved recommendation from staff, but we definitely want to have both sides of it. So yeah, we'll definitely put that forum together.
You made the motion, you second that?
Yes.
Okay. So a motion and a second that we continue to look at this, the social district issue and have something in 90 days to come back to the community to have another forum to talk about it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none? Okay. So what do you, Justin?
Yes, sir. We'll keep it going. So the next item is to discuss the Travel and Tourism Authority. So this got brought up with the budget discussions because we have to keep those funds separate. So we have created a separate fund to make sure that the travel and tourism money we get is separate and also only spent on travel and tourism related expenses. The legislation that originally created our Travel and Tourism Authority, it's included in your packets. It's a little specific. It of course talks about how the occupancy tax money that we collect should only be spent on travel and tourism related expenditures, but it also talks about the membership of folks being involved in travel and tourism related businesses in the town, and a few other things that in my mind makes it difficult for Troutman to really have that authority that it was created. I think it was created with the thought that we would have a hotel much sooner, and the money we get is largely from Airbnb. So of course, we could find an Airbnb host and have them get involved in the authority. I don't think it's the legislation, but I think it's the local ordinance actually talks about the representative from the Statesville Chamber of Commerce, because we used to partner with them. So there's some outdatedness, if you will, at both levels. And in thinking through this, council already sort of takes in those funds, keeps those funds separate, and then staff ensures that they're only spent on travel and tourism related expenses, which you all also have oversight with through the budget. So if we were going to go back to the legislation and say we want to tweak that original enabling legislation to give a little more flexibility on like the membership and that type of thing, the thought was, why don't we go back to them and ask them to let council be the final authority on that, still only approve the funding for travel and tourism related expenses, and then when we get to the point where we have more of that happening in town, you all could appoint an advisory committee. So it would be sort of like the planning board. If something goes to them, they have some oversight over where those funds are spent, but then you all ultimately have the approval authority. And so in the meantime, you all could still set where those funds go, and then, like I said, when we get to a point where we've got more folks that we can get involved, we could build that up. So can do whatever council's pleasure would be, but that was the option that staff wanted to recommend after kind of digging into it.
We put a resolution on the consent agreement agenda for Thursday night.
Yes, sir. So if you wanted to move forward with this, what we would do is ask you to approve the resolution that's in your packets. We can put it on the consent agenda for Thursday. We would actually have to send that to the General Assembly, and they've got some lawyers and folks that would craft that specific language, which I can bring back to you all before final approval. But yeah, they would have to put that into a local bill to change that.
Council, what's your pleasure?
Well, I like that we're looking at it. I think it's something I brought up a couple months ago about the occupancy tax levels. Would this be an opportunity to also petition them to allow our municipality to charge the 6% that the county is allowed to charge?
Yeah, it would.
I would like to see that in the resolution as well then.
I could put it in the consent agenda.
Okay. We'll make that change and have it ready for Thursday. That's
Very
good. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the next one is going to be slide, you know.
Yes, so I wanted to bring this up to you all. We've had some discussions in the development subcommittee, which is Mayor Young, Mr. Jarzynski, Mr. Now. We've had multiple parties interested in the Lyatt building. So I really wanted to get y'all's thoughts on next steps. So if I can review those options real quick, and please jump in if I'm forgetting anything. We've had several folks approach us that would be interested in sort of a brewery type concept. They would be interested in leasing space. They wouldn't be interested in leasing the entire building. We haven't been able to find anybody that would say, well, I'll purchase the building and then, lease to those folks. So if we wanted to move forward with that, we would need to have an architect look at the plan for the building and try to figure out what those different spaces might look like, how we could divide that up. I think we could, get some buy-in from those folks, but we would have to do the renovations and make that space ready for them to lease. So there's some significant planning and capital expenditures that would have to be made up front. Another option is we've had someone local who has looked at the building 3 times. They made an initial offer which was below our asking price, so we declined that. But they've looked at it twice since then, so there's still some interest. Don't have an updated offer, but just wanted to mention that. And then the other option is a company that's interested in leasing pretty much the majority of the building. They've said they may want to lease about half of it for the first 6 months and then kind of grow into it. But for the most part, I would consider it to be a full lease. It is it's a defense subcontractor, so they actually make this really thick armored glass that goes into armored vehicles. One of the co-owners has 1 or 2 other businesses, and I think they would sublease some of the business or some of the space to them. That co-owner is actually I don't know if they're a resident of the town limits. I think they might be in the ETJ. Just outside, yeah. So it is a sort of a local firm, but they're very interested, and they wanted to discuss sort of next steps and lease specifics. I didn't want to get into that until I kind of got a gauge of the full council and on whether or not we wanted to move forward with that, or if we want to explore the other idea, or if we want to just sit on it and wait for a while. So anything I missed or y'all want to add?
Just to add to, kind of in from committee conversations we've had, the brewery idea is great and would kind of be like a staple to a future social district and entertainment, although it's going to require a lot of work from the town side of repairs and making it ready for them to move in for their usage. The gentleman with the local, well, I guess more national defense contracts, seems much more ready to get going, kind of Project Go Fast Part 2.
So for him, we don't have to do any updates for not the brewery guy. The other guy, we don't have to do the updates, but the brewery people, we do, right?
We'd have to do some minor renovations. There's a leak in the roof in one spot, and then the bathrooms have some issues. So there'd be some initial kind of updating it, but nowhere near what it would be to kind of divide the space up.
So the person who's looked at it for the 3rd time, are they looking for us to cave in, or have we mentioned to them about a new offer, or where are we with? that?
Yeah, so our realtor has showed it to the company interested in purchasing it. I've had the conversations with the potential lease folks, and I've mentioned that to them. I've said, we've got other people interested in it, and so this is what we're asking for it. This is where we want to be. So yeah, he's hopeful, but he's a realtor. So, but I mean, to his credit, they've looked at it 3, maybe 4 times, and the last time I actually was just driving by, and there were 5 or 6 cars there. So I mean, they brought multiple people, but again, that don't have an offer. So,
With what's going on at the fairgrounds in the next few years, I know we discussed this amongst our committee with the mayor and Justin. That property that we own, the Wyatt property, is only going to go up in value. And the committee kind of looked at it is if we can lease it, I'm not going to say a couple of years, but say lease it for 5 years, we still own it for those 5 years, with possibly taking it back if the business does very well and outgrows that space, and then looking to then 5 years from now or even longer go into a possibly brewery type deal. But that real estate is only going to go up in price with what's going on with the farmers market at the fairgrounds.
Maybe.
That looks like y'all know something.
So wanted to gauge y'all's interest. Also recognize that Ms. Bartlett's not here, and I know she was passionate about this when we spoke, so didn't want to exclude her from the conversation. And also the mayor's on the subcommittee, and he's not here, so it's up to you all. We can. I hate to put him off because, like Mr. Dzierżynski said, he's kind of ready to move, but I can explore that a little more, and we can revisit the conversation. I mean, you all would still have to approve any lease contracts or anything like that. So.
So I guess I've asked you guys on the committee, any thought of how we should move, or see if we can get a little bit further and get more?
I think overall we should really explore the option with the defense contractor and see what that lease term might look like to review. The other ones, we kind of know what they're going to look like, right? A lot of internal work. So maybe, I'm sure not by Thursday, but by next month's meeting or any meeting in between, we can decide on finalizing that.
Yeah, do that.
So
Also, the gentleman that was interested in purchasing it was way, way, way lower than our original purchase price. So we would really be taking a loss if we go that.
Yes, I wonder if he's waiting for us to cave in. That's
Right. Well, at that price, we'd have to cave in pretty bad.
in real case, Scotty Brown offered it the other day, he'd buy for $2 million if we would tear it down, completely clear it off the property. He said it was probably valuable. That's what he was looking at, which is what your comment was.
He's just got to come with 2 other votes, and I haven't heard them.
He might come by them, he's on himself personally.
I agree with Councilman Dzierżynski that we should definitely go the route of the defense contractor.
Okay.
Not totally, but let's investigate it
Sure.
some more.
We'll keep moving forward.
It half the place, right? They were looking for a lot more space.
Yeah, they would. He has said they would lease maybe half of it to begin with, but within 6 months, all of it. And I think by the time we get done talking about all this, he may just be ready to lease all of it. So his business has been sort of growing quicker than he anticipated originally too. So yeah.
And then some things that came up that are very interesting. You start out with the comments around that parking area by the fairgrounds. That's there's not a lot of parking at Liat, so we might have to in the future look at even moving that fence altogether to offer more parking for Liat. So there's a lot of other things that might come into play in regards to the chain, the easement, and other things.
Our consensus is, look at this armored class contract.
We'll keep moving forward. All right. Our next item is to discuss the Richardson Greenway lighting. This was brought up 2 months ago, I think. So Emily, do you want?
2 council members. Eddie brought it up, and then Nick had brought it up at the planning retreat, I think it was, and then Eddie mentioned it again last month. So last year, I had started some research. You'll see in your packet here the background and information there, but I'd started looking into replacing the poles along the greenway just because there were several concerns. The inconsistency in the lighting and the coverage. You'll notice some of the bulbs are lighter than others, brighter than others. The poles are leaning. There's some structural stability issues. Even the poles are fading. So that conversation and research was a year ago, and then when you two mentioned it in the past several months, that prompted me to renew the conversations with Duke. So you'll see in your packet here is the pole that we would need. You see the bulb and then the pole style there. This would be installed on a concrete pad to make sure we didn't have the leaning again, so that it was secured. And then this is inclusive of the banner rod attachments. Of course, LED bulbs. Duke does all the installation. Their personnel handles all the maintenance as well, as the poles are an asset of Duke's and tied directly to the power grid. The breakdown of the estimated charges are here. So happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions?
What are the charges actually for? Do they own the current poles?
Mm-hmm.
So is straightening them up or putting them on proper foundation part of their current requirement?
Say that again.
Like the poles that are not lighting consistently or crooked because they're not on proper foundation, is that part of Duke's current?
So they can't replace those bulbs because it's such a dated fixture. They're faded. They just need to be replaced, and they're not properly installed on concrete. So in order for us to get the LED bulbs that we want and the consistent lighting and all that, so we would have to go with a new structure altogether.
Did the town at one point pay for all those to be installed?
I don't know what year that was, early 2000s.
So is this cost reflective of like purchasing the pole and they just do the work?
Mm-hmm.
So who owns the current poles?
Duke.
Okay.
And
They still own it.
yeah.
So if the bulb goes out now, we call in a work order to Duke. They still come out and maintain them and repair them.
After we pay for these poles, will we own these poles? They'll just maintain them?
We won't own them. So the way Duke kind of does it is if you want a Cobra headlight on your wooden pole in your yard, they'll come do it for free and they'll charge you for the service. If we wanted wooden poles and Cobra headlights all along the greenway, they do it for free and they charge us for the service. But the additional cost of the pole and the install and everything else is what's in that fee. So they still own that pole. They'll maintain it, so if the bulb ever goes out. But yeah, it's sort of the price difference between the wooden pole and the Cobra head and the decorative part.
That makes more sense. So when you refer to Cobra head, you're referring to just a standard street light?
Yeah, just like the ones that come out from the pole, kind of like this or longer.
Okay.
Get a longer one, yeah.
Now, on the flag mounts on the side of ours, they still do that?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so that cost includes the brackets, the mounting brackets.
So they're back on, okay.
Yep.
And we brought up a question around like future connectivity, speakers or lights. Is there any of that involved in this, or would that be additional future upgrades?
I did not ask Duke about music or sound, but I can ask them about that.
But this would use the existing conduit and everything that's there, so
Existing
they're not
infrastructure.
opening the ground. They're they're just putting them back where these are. So unless there's room in the existing conduit.
It's minimal disruption to our grass
Yeah.
on the greenways.
That's right.
Okay, very good.
Emily,
Yes, sir.
is this just downtown and on Greenway, not developments or anything like that with lighting, right?
No, this is just the 22 poles along Richardson Greenway.
Excellent, thank you.
And so if you all wanted to move forward with this, similar kind of thing as the other items, we'd recommend putting a budget amendment on Thursday night's agenda and having you all approve a resolution that just allows us to move forward. But if you don't want to, we don't have to. That's the path forward.
and also the regular for the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that?
Is this current budget or future budget?
This would, well, Gina?
It's a capital project, so
Oh, that's right.
we would want to put it, transfer in this budget.
Okay.
Because we're in a good place, so we've got the extra money, so I would suggest we use $26.
So the funds are available
Yeah.
in this budget?
In this budget,
Okay.
yeah. We would essentially transfer it over to the Richardson Greenway Capital Project Fund, and then whenever Duke is ready, we'd have those monies set aside to pay for it.
So that means we wouldn't be looking at a finance. Is that right? Or is
No.
that on a finance basis?
Yeah, so when we, we'll move the full, 100,000, 104, we'll move the full $104,000, on Thursday, and then we'll just hold it there, because this capital project, it transcends fiscal years, so it'll just stay there until Duke gets done and they bill us for it, and we'll pay it out of the capital project.
But no, not finance, the 104.
Yeah,
That's
Because there were two options here. There was one with 5 years, 60 months, and so
I
just
think
in
that,
review
isn't
of those
that
to understand.
$500 the ongoing price?
That's the ongoing,
That's the
yeah.
ongoing monthly price, for those LED lights
But because,
and everything, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't change for us after the 5 years. They're going to continue to honor that rate for us. I think this is just a template that they use.
Okay. So do we currently have any ongoing costs to the lights?
Yes, yeah, we have utilities that we have to pay. It comes out of administration, so it'll be the same line item that it comes out of. I could do analysis for Thursday or just for information to find out how much we're paying now and then what the difference would be. But we have the utilities budgeted next year.
Do they itemize out the Greenway on the statement? They don't.
Yeah, so it might be a little more work.
It is, well, yes.
And I understand that. I appreciate that. So the 509.74, that'd be an additional cost
That's
to
our power
whatever
bill
we pay
for-
currently
Yeah.
for having LED lights.
That's the new cost for the LED lights. We'd have to, so Duke does not separate out any of our utilities, so we would have to talk to them to be able to call out how much these lights cost us right now and compare it to the 509.
But yeah, that's the power bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
That clears it all up. So
Yeah.
that's our
That's our
projected power bill
yes.
moving forward.
Yeah.
But we're unsure of what our current power bill is.
Yes, because they don't break it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So very good with the
Yeah.
Thursday nights. Okay.
Do that?
So say, consent agreement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just slip it right in there under the consent agenda. I guess.
So the next item, I'm not going to read through all 64 pages of the personnel policy, but we've been working, I think maybe since right before I started on updating this policy. I wanted to allow Terrence to kind of give an overview of what all we've done, and then just go ahead and say that the intent is for you all to take this and review it, and then we can potentially vote on it in July. I'm not going to ask you to read all that between now and then, but go ahead and tell them kind of what we've done.
So last year we were awarded a safety grant from the league, which of course we're using to revamp our personnel policy. So we're working with the MAPS group. The MAPS group was actually recommended from the league as well. And we've done previous work with them in the past, and they've also was recommended based off the work that they've done with other municipalities, because a lot of other municipalities has also been updating their personnel policies using that grant. So some of the focus areas that we're looking at is improving compliance and updating and modernizing the policies and just aligning the practices with the current municipal standards. So what we did was we had the MAPS group make recommendations based off industry standards, and then we reviewed them and tailored them to ensure that the final policy was reflective of what we wanted to be, our needs and our goals. So if you look in your proposed personnel policy change, the policy change sheet, you'll be able to see a list of key changes that are being made.
thought it was very thorough. I did read the whole thing. I saw some new descriptions of department, and yours being probably the biggest description change, being that our previous policy didn't even have an HR director. So it's nice to see all those different areas to find out in our updated policy.
Yeah, very good work.
So yeah, I want to.
Pretty inclusive.
Yeah, and that, like Terrence mentioned, that last page kind of has a list of some of the changes that were made. We really went through it, and thank you to Terrence and all the department directors for reviewing it and going through it with the consultant from the MAPS group. So it would have been hard to give a red line copy to you all because we marked it up so much, but that list is pretty inclusive there. So again, take this, look through it, call me with questions between now and July, and we'll plan to bring it back up for your consideration then.
The only main question I had was on the last page, the other points, the specific procedures that were placed separate, when we should expect to be reviewing those over the next couple months, or is there kind of a prospective timeline for some of them?
Yeah, so some of the other policies, there are 70-ish, but this is probably the biggest one and arguably the most important one. So once we move forward with this, we'll start to look at some of those other policies and bring those back to you all for consideration on updating them. We want to be able to give the department directors enough time to review, and then for us to research what kind of best practices are across other municipalities. So we'll dig into those and hopefully be able to bring you 1 or 2 or 3 per month for the next several months, depending on the size of the policy and how much we have to dig into it and everything too. And this also is also trying to state that there are some things in this policy. The one example I pulled out is like on-call status. So it speaks to how the town manager will approve the on-call rotation for each department. So what we want to do internally is make that more formal, so that if a new employee comes into Public Works, Austin's not like, oh yeah, this is what we do for it, and it's just kind of word of mouth. We want to be able to say, here's an additional resource with some appendices and things for how these types of things operate that typically maybe wouldn't get written down because it's so commonplace, but so that we've got something in there. So we'll be putting that together, and then we'll be reviewing those separate policies too and bringing those back to you.
So does that mean this is something that's distributed to all employees for review? Is this part of their employee policy handbook or something?
Yes, yeah. So every new employee gets this and has to sign off on it that they've received it, and it's part of their orientation.
So we'll likely have to do that once we adopt this and it's all approved, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, everybody get a new copy.
Great.
Yeah.
See it again in July.
That's right. We'll be back.
July, where public comment gets moved to the front of the meeting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I will keep going on the Thursday night agenda if you're all right with that, sir.
Okay.
So looking at Thursday, we've got minutes, and then item 7G is consider adoption of the position classification plan. So it's a good segue from the personnel policy to the position classification plan. So council has to review this from time to time and update it according to what positions we have and the salary grades that we have for various employees. So we wanted to bring this to you all because we have discussed and then put in the budget several new positions. And there have been some other positions talked about over the last year or so that I don't think formally made it into the position classification plan, so we've updated that as well. So I wanted just to have you all review that and then consider approval on Thursday night. I'll go through real quick. So the previous positions were assistant town manager and project manager. We'll have a revised copy for you in your packets. It shows a 1 next to those positions, but those positions are unbudgeted, so that should be a 0. But we'll update that and get you a new copy. Public Works Operations Manager's highlighted. That's a new position, so there's a 1 there. One more little change is the it says Community and Public Experience Manager. That's the PIO, communications type position that we've discussed. It actually should be Communications and Public Experience Manager. That's the title we landed on after a lot of back and forth of trying to figure out what that person should do. It's going to be a big part communications, but we thought it was more than communications, and it's going to be a big part of downtown engagement, but we have a lot of other businesses outside of downtown. So public experience is sort of is what we landed on to call that. So that's a new position. We have a management analyst as a new position right underneath that. If you look down a little further, we have an additional accounting technician position that we've added. And then on the last page, we've got the Parks and Recreation Special Events Assistant. So any questions on any of those?
I think I requested when these were presented, any towns around our size and their staff classifications and positions in regards to in comparison to what we're adding and have we had any updates on that?
Yeah, we have that. Did
You
okay?
can get at the planning retreat. I can send it out.
Yeah, if you'll send it back out, that'd be good. Yeah. Any other questions on that? We'll keep moving if not. All right, so item 7H is amending a capital project ordinance. I'll let Gina jump in if I say anything wrong, but basically, so we have a capital project ordinance that's from 2018.
Yeah.
It's the 2018 Street Improvement Capital Project Ordinance. So we've used that over the years for street improvement projects, but really it's just a capital project fund that's been sitting out there kind of vacant for a little while. So this year, because of some staffing changes, we've gotten behind on the street paving project. So we have money budgeted for that, but money doesn't typically carry over from year to year if you don't do anything with it. So what this would do is first it would revise the capital project ordinance from the 2018 street improvement project to be the street and parking rehabilitation fund, and then it would take the money we have in this budget year that otherwise wouldn't roll over and put it into that fund. And then our intent would be to take the money we've put in next year's budget and also put it in that fund. So then we have this dedicated fund for street and parking rehabilitation. It really does two things. It allows us to combine these 2 years worth of funding for those street improvements, but also going forward, if this happens again and we kind of get off cycle, we're pooling that money and able to use it to make sure that potentially more streets get paved. And so we've got that pot of money saved up. So that'll just amend that ordinance and then put that money in there that we've already kind of designated for those purposes. Any questions on that?
Does that mean Iredell Avenue is going to get paved?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
That's in the. They're working on sending the bids out right now, and we've actually had some discussions about seeing what the cost is going to be to concrete. I can't remember the distance. Do you remember?
350.
About 350 feet. Actually, do concrete instead of asphalt because it'll be more resilient. So then. And there happens to be a concrete plant nearby, so we're going to have a discussion with them on whether or not they'd be willing to maybe just turn the spigot on out there.
I sure hope so. I mean, it's kind of for their business a little bit that it's all torn up, right? I think the heavy trucks turning right on the corner there.
Yeah. Yeah, Austin's reached out to him so we can start that conversation, but yeah. Good?
Good.
Okay. Speaking of streets, next is request for the town to accept maintenance of Satchel Court and Obadiah Court in Sutter's Mill. pretty straightforward. Andrew, anything you want to add there? I assume the engineers looked at it and signed off on it. And we do have some pictures of those, but I don't think they made it into this council packet. So did you update the electronic one yet?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so
It's
it's
on the
it's
website.
updated on the website. If you wanted to pull it up and look at those pictures, we meant to include those in there. They just got overlooked.
It doesn't work when I push on the paper script.
Any questions on that? Keep going. All right. And the last on consent agenda is adopt ordinance 1126, which is Town Troutman fiscal year 26 budget ordinance amendment number 5. And this is typical budget amendment we do every year. It's the end of the year cleanup budget amendment. It just takes the budget and reconciles all of the different accounts that we've got. Gina, anything you want to add to?
No, I think, so we've got that piece of it. We need to move some funds around from capital expenditures to debt services to cover the Keystone cost, but that's cost neutral, so all that. And then the third purpose is we're going to create a fund. We received the $1.5 million from Prestige for the Highway 21 improvements. So we're keeping that in an interest-bearing account, and we'll be able to keep that interest. But we want to make sure that the fund is separate so that it can roll over in each budget year. So that's the third purpose of this budget amendment.
All right.
And hopefully that bears enough interest to cover the growing cost of that road project.
All right, so moving into our next section is recognitions and presentations. This is for the Citizen of the Year and Organization of the Year. And we've got both Mr. Chambers and the Exchange Club are going to be in attendance with several folks, so we'll make sure we have some reserved seating for them and make sure that goes well. We'll have a presentation for you to give, Mr. Harris, and yeah, it'll be good. So our old business is to consider the fiscal year 26-27 budget. So we had a public hearing at the last meeting. The motion was to continue that public hearing. So the intent here is just to see if there's any final comments on the budget from folks out in the community, and then asking council to adopt the budget itself and then the accompanying schedule of fees. With the last version that you all saw, I think there's only one change, and that is that we found out that the city of Statesville is going up on their water rates by 12% for everybody. So Statesville residents will see that 12% increase, but so will the town of Troutman. So we have adjusted that expense to cover that 12%. But yeah, that was really the only change from last time. So I wanted to make sure we account for that because that's a little bit bigger number. But yeah, we'll have those rates increased on the schedule of fees, and then we'll, like I said, account for that in the budget. So
Is that 12% plus our proposed, what was it, 2.5%?
No, so we just did 12%, so it includes that 2.5%. So essentially, it's just, and you see on your staff report, the second page, I put what we had originally proposed for the first one, and then the new one.
and that is something that Statesville started this year that they'll continue for the next 5 years, I believe it said. So
For their infrastructure needs.
yeah.
You mean the mostly empty wastewater plants that they're not selling capacity to? Okay.
Okay, any questions on that? All right, so we'll move into new business. We have 2 economic development related items. The first is to consider economic incentive requests by Iredell EDC for Project Go Fast. So Ms. Boser's here, but she'll also be here Thursday night too. So we can go through any questions y'all might have about that. But this item is basically to improve the incentive request from Project Go Fast. The next item would actually be a resolution to approve the sale and move forward with that over the next couple of months. Yeah. Any questions there?
I look forward to Thursday.
Okay. So item 10C is a text amendment to the UDO for public art and murals. I'll turn it over to Andrew.
Yeah, this was requested on behalf of council, and so we've taken comments you had regarding public art and murals and put together the text amendment in your packet for you. I'll just give kind of a brief overview. We want to take murals out of the sign section because they're specifically not signs, they're art. So we're going to add them to our use table, which is section 2. Basically, as public art and murals, we're going to allow them in each zoning district, so it's not going to be defined by zoning district any further. However, we're going to have a robust review. Basically, they'll have to meet what we have here in the staff report as far as any kind of requirements. It's pretty robust, as I mentioned, and ultimately each mural or piece of public art will have to come to council for ultimate approval. So that's just a basic rundown of what we'll hear on Thursday night. We also added a definition of mural, commercial advertising, and public art. And yeah, that's all in the staff report. So I'll be presenting this a little bit more in depth on Thursday, but if anybody's got any questions tonight, I'm glad to speak on those. This is a beautifully written text amendment.
It is.
Who wrote it?
I think you wrote it.
No, you wrote it.
Does the proposed presentation for Thursday include the changes that the planning board had suggested?
Yeah. It'll give both.
All right. I thought they were really good suggestions from the planning board.
Okay. All right, so then our final item under new business is our first swap box application. This is the trinket trade box. This is actually what sort of spurred the process for us to develop a policy around it. We wanted to make sure we were consistent in handling these in a more refined way going forward. So Ms. Dellinger will be here to give a very brief presentation to you all. She'll have the box with her, and you all can review it and ask questions and consider approval.
Next item is closed session.
Yes, sir.
We have Jennifer Circuit, OCGS 143-318, or 11A3, assault return. NCGS 143-318, 11A4, discuss economic development. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Move that we go into closed session.
Please say all in favor?
Aye.
Go closed session. And then you